Wir reagieren heute auf Triforce Percent und bei unserer Wiederholung. Und ich würde sagen, wir legen direkt los.
I am Dwango AC, Keeper of Taskbot, and I am so happy to welcome you to the Ocarina of Time Beta Showcase. Our director with us here today is Soren.
Hi everyone, I'm a tools developer and using
We have Save State.
Hello, I'm an Ocarina of Time scientist, speedrunner, and world record holder.
We only have a couple of quick things to tell you about really fast. This is an unmodified Ocarina of Time cartridge This is the first release we know of that came out in the United States, and you wouldn't believe what's in this cartridge. This is a real, original N64. The only modification is an RGB mod to get a clean video signal. Otherwise, the console hasn't been modified in any way, and the gameplay is completely unaffected.
What we'll be showing you today is
Coding rectangles normale cartridges für die Leute, die kein Englisch können.
in order to
überhaupt nicht, ja.
the game, we'll be using arbitrary code execution, which we'll explain in a moment. And in order to make that possible, you actually have to work with both the human speedrunner, save state, as well as TaskBot here, and we'll introduce TaskBot also in a moment. We're going to get started with save state.
Yeah, so if we're ready to start, we'll begin in 3, 2, 1.
Das war wunderbar. Die Reaction geht eigentlich schon
The
lang.
game has a pretty long intro sequence, so we'll explain more of what's going on while that's happening.
So first of all, I need to introduce the version 1 of TaskBot. He is brand new at this event in his new form, and I'm so excited to unveil him. If you've never heard of TaskBot before, he is very fascinating. He pretends to be a controller connected to a real console, and he presses buttons extremely fast and extremely precisely, faster than any human ever could. Now, there's a couple of quick things we need to talk about, because this run is kind of unique. Most of the time, if you think about a speedrun,
Der Controller ist halt
human speedrunner, like Save State here, do
mit dem Taskbar verbunden.
finish as fast as
Also kann er halt angreifen, betätigen,
in the case of
die
tasks,
er Mensch halt nicht schaffen kann.
usually playing back tool assisted
Wollen die auch so ergeben so.
or a task. Usually a task is made ahead of time with a lot of engineering challenge effort put into it. And what you're going to see here today is fascinating because we can't do just a task in Ocarina of Time. For a number of technical reasons, we'll always end up with a desync. So instead, right now we're having save state play. They'll play through to about a few minutes in, and then at a certain point, we'll connect TaskBot to all 4 controller ports. TaskBot will press a series of button presses very quickly to achieve what we call ace. More on that in a second. And we'll get to a point where we'll pass control back to save state.
Also hier passiert etwas Besonderes. Das wird erst kommen,
A lot of interesting things are going to
wenn halt
Now, there's
das Gameplay losgeht.
about ACE and SRM. ACE stands for Arbitrary Code Execution, and SRM is Stale Reference Manipulation. I'll let Soren talk
Also führt Ace durch,
a little bit more about
was ein
but just to give you an idea of what
Glitch ist, mit dem man Ocarina of Time halt in 7 Minuten deutlich zocken kann.
an attacker
So
is
weit.
not the owner of a system somehow gets code or gets data on a system that looks like code to execute. In the case of a game, typically ACE happens when a talented gamer finds a glitch, is able to get data in the system in a certain way, and then convinces the game system to execute that as code. This is used in certain things like the Nintendo 64 80% of Ocarina of Time chooses an ace to write a couple of instructions that end up jumping to the end credits. So there's a lot of interesting things you can do. Once you have arbitrary code execution, you can do a lot of different things, but you have to get there first, and that's going to take some SRM. I will let Soren describe what SRM is here.
Yeah, so SRM stands for Stale Reference Manipulation. And it's basically a glitch exploit that has one main glitch and a bunch of sort of supporting glitches that allows us to achieve arbitrary code execution. So SRM is sort of the process, and arbitrary code execution ACE is the result. And
Das ist genau das, wie wir am Anfang zum Let's Play.
in a computing context, you might hear of this called
Beziehungsweise kurz nachdem ich das Let's Play zu dem Zeitpunkt wusste ich nicht mehr, dass es passiert ist. Sehr viel auf jeden Fall.
First, I want to explain somewhat about how the game's memory works. So in memory, there is a region of memory called the actor key. And actors are, let's say, Link, or Rock, or an enemy, or anything like that that has some sort of behavior in the game. And so when you go through a loading zone near a new area, like right now, the game will load all of the code and all of the data for all the actors in the new area you're going to be into the actor key. And, it'll load them in an order depending on what was there previously. And normally you don't care what order the contents are in the actor key because the game keeps track of where everything is. So it doesn't really matter where everything is. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be manipulating the actor key so that where one item is in memory ends up coinciding where something else loads later. And normally that wouldn't matter, but because of some other glitches that we'll explain that in a moment. So the way we manipulate the key is, let's say if you throw a rupee or you throw a rock or something like that, that item will be removed from the actor heap.
Nein, Webparodie, also ich selbst.
So if you go to another loading zone, then that means how everything else loads will be shifted around. And so you'll see us collecting seemingly random rupees and going through a loading zone over and over. And that's basically shuffling around the data in the actor heap so that we can have this particular data to each other later. And what those two pieces of data that we're going to align is, one of them is the entity, basically the temporary actor data for a rock that Link is going to be holding. And then what we get to load in there in place of it is the code for another actor, which is this Wonder Ring. It's basically an invisible repeat. And so that might not make sense at the moment, but I'll explain why we need those two to align in memory. So the other piece, the actual scale reference of Snare-Electron's manipulation, is that we use some glitches to cause an object to unload that Link is holding. And so, what this means is Link grabs a rock, and on every frame that Link is holding the rock or whatever, any item that he's holding, the game updates the position and rotation of the rock so that it appears where it's headed. Because he's moving around, it needs to continuously update where the rock is. And so the way that works is that Link's actor has a pointer to the rock's actor, and every frame Link's actor will overwrite the position and rotation of the rock. And so using a bunch of glitches, we're going to lock the camera and then have Link walk through a loading zone at the same time that the rock loads. And the result of that is that the rock will unload from memory, but Link won't update his pointer. So he'll still be carrying the now nothing, this unused memory. And every frame Link's code will be overwriting the position and rotation of now nothing, this unused memory. And then we get the code for the Wonder item to load into that same slot of unused memory. And then that means Link's code every frame is now overwriting part of the code. So it's not actual data but actual code. And then if we get the game to execute that code by normally having the Wonder item on the screen, it'll execute that code, it'll run into those instructions that we overwrote, and then it'll run that instruction. And that is instructions that we, as a player, because we can set what that rotation value is, we set up that value and then we can execute that code that we wrote. And with this technique, we only get to control 2 bytes of the instruction, which is enough to change the target of the branch instruction, which will basically have the data.
Das war schlecht Charakter aus AOT.
And that other place is going to be Link's rotation. So
So.
two shorts, Link's
Und wie gesagt, dafür jetzt keine A-Storage,
and that also encodes an instruction
um halt den Code zu manipulieren.
some memory that is holding the current state of all of the controllers. So that is just memory holding all of the buttons and control sticks. And so that's where we'll switch to TaskBot. So TaskBot will input controller input that is it will be interpreted by the game as normal controller input, but will also be interpreted by the game as code. So just to go over this cap again.
Hier ist nichts random, weil es halt zwei drin.
Goes to the Wonder item. We overwrote an instruction holding this rock, and that will then jump to Link's rotation, and then Link's rotation will jump to the controllers, and then we execute the controller input as code. And then TaskBot will take over and do some interesting things with that. So we're just finishing this setup here. Got to do a few glitches here to camera. So the camera is locked and sort of in a strange state now. I'm going to go over and change the angle of the camera and get the camera locked into a different place.
Und wir sind wirklich schon fertig mit ESO.
Now we're going to pick up this rock and make the camera switch at the same
Yeah.
time. Now we have to
Ja, wir sind fertig.
screen holding the rock and manage to navigate out of the loading zone holding the rock without any visual reference. So just take a moment here. So now you'll see we're holding nothing. So Link is updating this unused memory. Now that we've crossed back over a loading zone, that memory is filled in with this the code for the wonder item. And when we put down the rock, that's the last time we've updated that rotation value, which is now overwriting part of the code. And now we have to set up Link's rotation. So, you know, if you were really lucky, you could just push the control stick and make Link rotate it in the exact direction. But, you know, we have to use a setup for this. So this is, we're doing basically a series of maneuvers that will each move Link's angle by a certain amount in a certain direction. And so we do this series of maneuvers, and it will...
Ich gehe mal kurz auf Klo, deshalb bis gleich. Gerade rausgefunden, dass es komplett übersteuert ist. Das ist wahrscheinlich immer. Ich glaube, jetzt sollte es besser sein. Ich muss nur auf den Test warten. Dass es komplett übersteuert ist. Das ist wahrscheinlich immer. Okay, ich habe etwas umgestellt. Okay, es klappt jetzt einigermaßen. denke ich mal. Dann reagieren wir mal weiter.
You know, result in Link having an exact value for the rotation, which will encode this jump instruction. So almost ready for TaskBot here. We just have to have, we're buffering a turn. We have to have Link aiming in the exact right location here. I think that's it.
Yep.
Ach
So
so,
now I'm
ja,
going to
ich
switch controller 1 over to
hier
TaskBot.
auf
So TaskBot is now connected to all 4 controller ports.
Also du kannst gerne
Starting
welche
TaskBot.
We're going to play a short task
schreiben.
movie here, about 20 seconds or so. So right now, the game is, you know, interpreting the controller input as Link wiggling around, but also interpreting the controller input as code. At first, it's 1 instruction per frame, and then it goes a bit faster. And after a few seconds here, you'll see a little green bar in the corner of the screen. That means this was successful. That was the big moment, though you may not have realized it. And so now we've switched. So we've switched controller 1 back to TaskBot, back to save state. So they will continue playing on controller 1 for the rest of the run. But TaskBot remains connected to controller ports 2, 3, and 4 this whole time. And so we just had to go into a house to clear out some residual glitches that were active for the arbitrary code execution. So here's our first piece of content to show here. This is the inventory editor. This was created by the developers to, you know, be able to test, more easily test the game and, you know, set up Link's state. We basically just had to write 1 byte to memory in the pause screen to turn on the inventory editor and be able to use it. So you may have actually seen this in the Majora's Mask speedruns, at least at one point. Yeah, so we don't have to go to the dungeons and get the items legitimately. We just give ourselves all the items we're going to need throughout the rest of the run.
Ja, jetzt hat sich halt Items geholt und
So this piece brings us to our next piece of content
da
here.
jetzt, ja,
This is the
da
R-Wing
ist der
from Star
R-Wing
Fox 64.
aus Star Fox.
You may have actually seen this. Sorry, you may have actually seen this at home. If you have a Game Shark, you can run a couple of Game Shark codes and get it to spawn. The developers of Ocarina of Time back in 1998 created the R-Wing to be able to test physics for the Fire Dragon Volvagia, and it has its own animations and sounds and everything. But we're able to dispatch it with the boomerang pretty easily here. So that brings us to our next piece of content here. So some of you may have played Zelda 1 on the original Nintendo. And on Zelda 1, the Lost Woods was a place that you could go, just like here in Ocarina of Time. And it was 1 screen with exits north, south, east, and west, just like this first room here in Ocarina of Time, in the Lost Woods in Ocarina of Time. And in Zelda 1, you had to learn a code from some NPC or somebody that was north, west, southwest. You had to go through the exits in the woods in the order northwest, southwest. If you did, you would get through the woods successfully. And if you didn't, you would fail and you would get thrown out of the woods. But here, if we go north in the first room in Kokiri and Lost Woods, we just immediately get thrown out of the woods. And so you would think that that means that this code can't possibly apply to Ocarina of Time. But actually what we're doing here is we're getting lost out of a north-facing exit, and then getting lost out of a west-facing exit, and then out of a south exit, and then a west exit. So it's the same code, but it's actually getting lost multiple times. And this is the last one, the west exit here. And so we just have to re-enter the woods a 5th time. You hear a Zelda chime. That means we've unlocked something.
Yeah.
So, you know, it isn't really clear if maybe nobody tried repeatedly getting lost in all these different exits in this pattern, or maybe if they did, that they didn't know where to look next, because you'll miss him if you don't know where to look. This is a beta Kokiri.
Yo!
This is our next piece of beta content to show here. There's actually several beta Kokiri bodies and a few different beta Kokiri heads left on the cartridge. This is actually actual beta content left on the cartridge. And so this beta Kokiri is looking for some kind of bug, but he doesn't want the bugs that we have in our bottle. He wants some flying bug. Something about flowers. So we've got to, this is typical, child Link side quest. We got to find a bug for a Kokiri. This is what Link has to go through. So this brings us to our next piece of beta content here. So in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, you may have noticed butterflies in the games, sometimes fluttering over a hidden grotto or around a torch in Majora's Mask.
Was macht er jetzt in Temple of
And
Time?
in Ocarina of Time, left on the cartridge, there is a 3D model for the get item model for a butterfly. And there is also an entry in one of the item tables for a butterfly in with all of the other bottle items. So it's pretty clear
Nicht,
that
er
at some
kauft
point
sich jetzt
development,
einfach
it was
einen
intended
Käfer.
that you could catch a butterfly in your bottle. And so, here, this is, the shop normally doesn't have a butterfly on sale. But since we have talked to the Beta Kokiri and he's looking for a butterfly, we can talk to the shopkeeper, and he will now
So,
respond
man
to
kann sich
this.
auch einen kaufen.
And we're gonna try to be quiet so y'all can read the on-screen text.
Warum haben sie es rausgenommen?
So here's the butterfly 3D model that's left on the cartridge. It's actually ironic. There is a bug in the display list for this butterfly. There's actually an issue with one of the texture formats.
Also,
So we had to patch that with
nach der
arbitrary code execution.
Reaktion werden wir noch
So now we
selber
have to give this butterfly
wahrscheinlich
to the Beta
UT
Kokiri.
zocken.
Fortunately, we have a warp point nearby. So we just have to head to the forest here. And this will be a good time for a couple of donations.
Absolutely. The Yeti sends us a breathtaking $10,000 donation.
Jo,
They
einfach
say, hey all,
10.000
Yeti
Dollar.
here. You may not know this, but we are pretty good friends with Tazbot. Tazbot is actually Yeti's emergency contact. Yeti has notifications turned on Twitter for Tazbot. Tazbot will be the best bot at the Yeti's wedding. One day, if that ever happens.
Aber spiel doch
Anyway,
mit, oder
we're
ich
all
google
very proud of
das Spot, ja.
everyone who donated towards
Spielt.
this amazing Tazbot block. You are amazing. Thank you, Yeti. We have a $5 donation from Shaden who says, donation power. Yes, every donation has power. And thank you, Black Turtle, for the $25 donation who says, Tazbot, best bot. Need more Tazbot. Time for one or two more?
Nope.
Ja, der Beta Kokiri ist immer noch
Thank you.
da.
Here we are at the Beta Kokiri again. We're going to give him the butterfly. Seems like Mido is pretty
der
unpopular.
Mido
around
nicht
these
mag.
parts.
Jo, das ist voll geil.
So this magic powder is actually a normal Adult Link trading item, except it's normally called Odd Potion. The magic powder,
Aber das gibt's noch im normalen
even though it's
Game.
pretty clearly some sort of powder on a napkin or something like that.
Das ist auch eine
and,
Quest im Kokiri, weil eigentlich
The
gewesen.
magic powder was introduced in Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, which is the game right before Ocarina of Time. So I'm not really sure why they translated it as Odd Potion. But anyway, normally this is adult only item, but we have it now and we're going to
Oh,
use it
jetzt
here
zum
in the same
Horror-Kit.
place that,
als
that
ob man
Adult
dem was
Link
geben
normally
kann.
uses it. And we're just going to say no to some of the dialogue prompts so you can see the alternate outcome. And
Wahrscheinlich ist wieder Mido gemeint.
Not a popular guy around here.
No.
Aber als ob die sowas aus dem Game nehmen. Hey, das ist ja total dumm. Ist ja einfach eine ganze Quest. Was kann man damit machen? Masken? Nee, sagt
this
nicht, wenn
brings
man
us to our
Corona-Masken
next,
nimmt,
thing
kann man
to
schon
show here.
Corona werden.
As many of you may know,
Wenn
in
das
Ocarina
passieren
of Time,
würde.
there is a mask trading side quest.
Guck mal, jetzt die.
The masks don't do too much outside of the side quest. They have a couple of small functions. They change some dialogue. They don't really have any serious magic powder.
Okay, der hat jetzt
Magic
die
power.
Gerudo-Maske
We just upgraded the
geupgradet.
Gerudo mask here. We're going to do the same thing for the bunny hood. Save State has done a little inventory
was steht da
manipulation
jetzt
glitch
rein?
here to allow us to equip two different masks at the same time, which isn't normally possible.
Jo.
So we're going to upgrade the bunny hood also.
Kann man damit jetzt so schnell laufen wie in,
So now our masks are powered up. And I'll
Und
explain
was
that more
macht?
in a moment here. But the bunny
Sehr
hood
super
now
geil.
will have its behavior from Majora's Mask,
Jo, es geht
allowing
wirklich.
us to run very quickly, which will be very helpful here.
It is a speed run event
Yes.
after all.
Oh, das ist geil.
So yeah, I'm not sure if you would call this beta content exactly. It was clearly content that was, being thought about by the developers while they were developing Ocarina of Time. The ability to have these masks and have them have magic powers, but it was left in Ocarina of Time in this vestigial state of this mask trading side quest, and then expanded into a full, complete new behaviors for all the masks in Majora's Mask. So we're going to be heading over to
Das ist ja
Rio
geil.
Valley,
Die
and
letzte
we have time for a couple more donations.
Certainly.
bringt ja nichts als
Joe
Kind,
Burt
kommt ja
donates
nicht durch.
$250, and they say Metroid Dread Boss Rush sounds dope. Will we hit the incentive? I hope. With Samus and skill, the bosses will kill. Will this speedrun be boring? Nope. And thank you one more to, oh wow, thank you everybody, yeah. Nups Nups donates $20. They say, I hope I'm not too late for the Limerick train. No, you're never too late for that train while I'm on the mic. There once was a speedrun event.
Aber das ist ja wirklich geil.
Donated every cent. Called SGDQ, broke some records too, and prizes presented by Cent. One more?
No, we're pretty much here. So, just going to run over to the other side of the bridge here. So normally, there's this Gerudo guarding this gate here. And normally, if you wear the Gerudo mask and you go up to her, she says, "You've got guts, kid," coming around here wearing something like that. But now that the mask is upgraded, and it's actually magical, she thinks we are a half Hylian, half Gerudo child.
Jo, ich bin begeistert. Jo, so kommt man da rein.
And she'll open the gate for us.
Man kommt da so als Kind
We
rein.
also get over here with speedrunning strategies, but that's
Jo.
not as fun. We're just going to talk to a couple of the guards for some flavor text here. Sounds like they have a pretty tough life out
Kann
here in
sogar
the
mit ihm
desert.
reden, ne?
Better make
Jo,
sure they don't
als
see
ob.
us switch our mask again.
Das ist ja so geil. Warum haben sie das
We have
rausgenommen?
time for maybe one long or two quick donations here.
Yeah, certainly. Wiggly Boots donates $25. They say, Tazbot was a major reason why I started watching GDQ years ago. So great to see Dwango, Tazbot, and the rest of the team still making amazing things happen. I agree. Save
Warum
State,
geht jetzt da
Soren,
rein?
Dwango, y'all are incredible. Give it up for them, y'all. And Vega 4K, $10.
Aber das ist ja so geil.
Fantastic Run, less than 3.
So we're just going to talk to a couple more Gerudos here so you can see more of their backstory. Normally don't get to interact with them as Child Link.
Also, dass man auch mit denen reden kann und dass sie eigene Text. Okay, wer sitzt da? Wahrscheinlich ist das die Person, mit der er reden will. Achso, das ist die, die angreift, oder?
I wouldn't want to be them. And here's Naburo, future Sage of Spirit. This is, you know, her home, basically.
Achso, das ist die. Jo.
So it looks like our disguise is working.
Einfach eine Weise.
Oh, maybe not.
Als ob sie da schon gerne noch stoppen wollten.
Sounds like Ganondorf is not popular around here either.
Oder ohne gerne nicht auch. Da lernt man den normalerweise den Song of Time. Aber hätte er nicht einfach cheaten können. Ich meine, da hat hier sogar das Debug-Menü. Da kann man das ja einfach machen. Da ist der Dungeon.
So what this is about is there's a couple hints in the game code looking at it that perhaps at some point in development the Spirit Temple was actually intended to be completed by Link going back and forth in time like within the dungeon. Not just
Okay,
doing
das ist
half
wirklich
of it
geil.
and then going and pulling the Master Sword and then doing the other half.
Warum haben sie sowas aus dem
if
Game
that
genommen?
was the case, Link would need some way to go back
Ja,
and forth
was?
in time.
Alte Song of
without
Time,
pulling the
ja.
Master Sword. And Naburo would need to be able to teach him this ability that he would need.
Man kann da bitte auch
She
machen.
won't take no for an answer, but that's, you know, pretty common for NPCs in Ocarina of Time.
Man kann damit, also man konnte damals
So
mit
Nabooru plays the
Full Song
chime.
of Time.
This is the instrument that you'll hear in the
Also
background
deshalb,
music
man,
of the
man
Spirit
kann den
Temple.
normalen lernen
I'd like to
und
think that
den,
the
und
Spirit
mit
Temple
dem
music
kann
is
man
just
dann
Nabooru practicing
anscheinend
somewhere in the halls.
erwachsener Link werden und wieder
And I'll talk
also
about
mit
this
der
ocarina
durch die Zeit
that
reisen.
you're seeing here in just a moment. After we're done with this,
Ich habe auch mal
cutscene.
was Maß geklaut. Ja gut, das sieht komplett verwackt aus.
It's a little
Aber als
tricky
ob
to input.
sowas
You can
geht.
see why Nintendo didn't leave this in the final game. So we've learned the song. It represents courage, and it will allow us to change between child and adult without having to pull the Master Sword, and that will be very important. By the way, we'll just speak to Nabooru. She says she'll see us again in a few years. We'll see about that.
Als
So yeah, about the
ob
ocarina
sowas
system you saw there.
geht.
So in the game,
Jo.
if you can play the ocarina, and there are 5 notes that are used for all the ocarina songs that you can play with 5 buttons on the controller.
Wieso nimmt
But
sie
you can
sowas aus
also
dem
press
Game?
R and Z
Ist
to
ja auch
go
eine
up and
geile
down by a
Quest.
half step, and you can press the control stick
Aber
up
was
or
kann man
down
damit jetzt
to go
machen?
up or down by a whole step.
Das ist jetzt die
So you
Frage.
can play the full Song of Time like you saw here, but it just will never be detected by the game as an ocarina song, because the game has actually 2 different systems in the code for handling ocarina songs. One is just for the 5 notes, and one is for all of them. So what we did here is I made a couple patches with arbitrary code execution to
Ich
basically
denke
make it
mal-
that it was using. Yes, yeah.
Das ist einfach nur ein bisschen zeitsparend.
Basically use the system that supports all of the notes for all of the ocarina playback, rather than these 2 systems sort of half and half for different things. So this brings us to the next
Warte
thing
mal,
to
ich
show
habe
here.
eine Frage.
This is the
Kann
Running
man
Man.
jetzt den
You may know
Wandering
him from
Man
Ocarina of Time. He has
Also den Running
sort
Man
of a
meine
late
ich.
game side quest. You
dann
can start this race
besiegen, wenn man durch die Zeit
and then,
reist?
he'll give you a head start.
Weil dann ist man ja in der
Run to the end of the
Vergangenheit.
race as fast as you can. You can get on a
Und
pony
da läuft
wherever
er
you
endlich
want.
los. Dann kann man zu
And
den
you get to the
Wäldern
end of the
gehen,
race
wieder
into the bridge in
als
the
erwachsener
Lost
Link dann
Woods.
sein.
And he'll
Dann
already
hat
be
er ja
there.
nicht mal die Chance dahin
And
zu
he'll
kommen.
say,
Auch wenn
you
man,
did well, but I beat you by 1 second.
auch wenn die Stelle jetzt null,
And even if you
bei
use
0
speedrunning
Sekunden ist.
strategies to freeze the timer and end the race with a time of 0, he still says that he beat you by 1 second, and he's still there. So that means that this running man must be doing some sort of, time manipulation shenanigans in order to be able to beat us all the time.
Aber das ist ja sehr geil.
But now we have the ability to do some time manipulation shenanigans of our own. So basically what we've done is we've started the race, and what we're going to do is go back in time 7 years by playing the ocarina, go to the end of the race, and then go forward in time 7 years, and we will be at the end of the race before the race started. And so hopefully we'll finally be able to beat him. By the way, if you thought of this, many years ago as a possible way and went to, put the Master
Okay,
Sword
meine
back in,
besteht-
that will stop
Meine
the timer.
Vermutung bestätigt, glaube ich,
But this will
gerade.
not stop the timer. So you see we have a timer that is corrupted. It is a very large negative number because we were back in time 7 years before the beginning of the race. It's trying to draw
Okay,
the
die
number,
Zeit
but
ist
it's
anscheinend
reading
negativ.
graphics out of bounds. And
Hä?
also, as Child Link, we have access to
Warum
the
haben
bunny
sie
hood, so
sowas
we
aus
can
dem
run
Game
more
genommen?
quickly to the end of the race. Oh,
Das
that's
ist
the
sogar der Running
Child
Man.
Link version of the Running Man. He doesn't know what's coming to him. So we have time for 1 long or 2 short donations here.
Sure, how about like 5 quick ones? We have a $1,000 donation from Tareen with no comment. A $500 donation from Maybe
Aber
Root,
es wäre
no
egal, wenn sie-
comment. A $250,
wenn irgendjemand so einen Mod
a
rausbringen könnte,
$500,
wo man das nachspielen
and a
könnte.
$1,000
Weil die-
donation from
weil der
Anonymous,
Bot hat,
Anonymous,
bestimmt
Anonymous, Anonymous,
nicht
no
nur eine
comment.
Eingabe gemacht.
Oh, and a
weiß mal so,
$1,234.56 dollar donation from Sam D. Thank you so much. With no comment.
All right, so here we are. Here we are at the end of the race. This is the bridge that's the end of the race. And we're just going to
Ja, meine
look back
Bestätigung
forward
ist
in time, 7
da.
years. You see our timer is still corrupted, but it's actually at negative 7,
Jo.
6, 5, and here he comes.
Warte
And the
mal.
timer ends on 0.
Man kann im PC-Port die auch einstellen, dass man erwachsener Link
So he's not
wird,
happy that we finally beat him.
wenn man eine andere Version betritt. Oder junge Link. Könnte man das vielleicht so auch machen? Jo.
So any NPC
Man
in
bekommt eine
Ocarina of Time,
Belohnung.
if we complete their challenge or help them out or anything like that, they have to give us a reward. So let's see what the Running Man has for us here. And since we're Adult Link, no more bunnyhood, so we have to use traditional movement techniques, at least traditional for speedrunners.
Don't try this at home, kids.
So here is our
Jo,
reward from the
ein
Running Man.
fetter Rubin.
This is a beta item actually left in the cartridge. It's a giant rupee, and this is actually what it does in game. Is it blows up? That's actually its behavior.
Daher kommt das Triforce. Hey, der hat ja nicht gecheatet.
So he is not happy about that.
Warum ist der Running Man so OP?
We'll be fine.
Hätten wir als Gegner machen können, einfach
He's
als
fast
so
that we
ein
can't shoot him with
Bossgegner.
arrows. He just runs out of the way. He'll dodge a lot of stuff. We can avoid, you'll see we got
Könnt ihn
knocked back, but we
selbst
didn't
nie
take damage
besiegen.
from that. We can shoot him a couple times when he's getting up there. Also, he's vulnerable to crouch stabs if you hit him at the right timing. He doesn't know how to jump over those.
Ja, eigentlich mache ich ja Displays auf dem Kanal, aber bei sowas halt muss man halt einfach gucken.
Get a couple hits in there.
Ich meine sowas krasses.
There we go.
Don't worry, even if this save state will be fine at this, but even if we weren't, we still have the inventory editor. We can give us ourselves unlimited hearts and everything. So
Jo. Was ist mit diesem Running
Just
Man
need one or
passiert?
two more
Warum ist er so
hits
OP? Warum hat er sich gerade hingesetzt?
Oh my god.
Warum setzt er sich hier mal hin?
the arrows don't do a lot of damage. Stabs do a lot more.
Oh no.
We did cancel the damage from it though. Z targeting him makes things worse, so we're just not doing that.
I think I need like literally just one more hit now.
There we go.
There we
Und
go.
da ist er besiegt.
Not an easy boss.
No, not at
Weil jetzt
all.
setzt er sich nicht hin.
Very tricky.
Oh, hier setzt sich doch hin.
So now we get to see some of the Running Man's backstory, why he was able to beat us all these years. Found some object here. It's dropped by someone fleeing town, I guess when the castle
So,
was
hat er
attacked.
gefunden.
This golden locket.
Also ist der Ocarina vielleicht.
Not sure that's how physics works, but
It's a video game.
the redemption arc. So here we have the Sage's
Yo.
Ring. This has enhanced our magic power. It represents power. You can see it has doubled our magic bar again. And it says equip the Sage's offerings. So we'll do that in just a moment after. we
Ja,
watch
was
the
mit der
Running Man run off into
Magieleiste
the
passiert.
sunset.
Hilfe, die ist ja übelst
So,
fett.
so this is another beta feature from Ocarina of Time. This was
Warte
shown in
mal.
pre-release
Kann man
screenshots and
damit...
videos, the ability to equip the medallions. So the original version of Ocarina of Time, the magic
Eine
spells were the
Vermutung, aber ich
medallions.
denke,
You
die wird
would equip
nicht
them to see and then
passieren.
use them.
Ja,
So,
geht
for
in den
example,
Wald,
the
das
fire
kann ja gar nicht
medallion
sein.
was replaced with that magic spell was converted into Din's Fire. But there were all 6 of them. They all did interesting things. This was also back when there was a wind temple and some other beta stuff. And we have a moment here, but I'm going to let Duango AC shout out the TaskBot community.
Yes,
Aber
indeed. But
das
before I
ist
do
sehr
that, I want
geil.
to tell you about that shirt again because it's just that awesome. If you head over to the Yeti, you will see the version 1 TASBot shirt. It's
Ah, ich darf
this is
schnell
our
nach
first
vorne
outing with our
bewegen.
new TASBot form that we've worked on so hard
Geht
over
auch
the last
nicht.
couple of years. He looks
Ach so,
really cute on
für
that
den
shirt.
Jump.
I had an update from the Yeti a couple of hours ago. They'd already sold over 1,000 of those, and that means that that alone is donating $5 per shirt for that. So this is for charity, folks. Go out and get them. This is the only time you can get them is at this event. Also, we have the TASBot community at discord.gg/TASBot. And as another quick shout out, the folks before us, they're over at, oh gosh, I almost forgot their name.
Okay, wo geht jetzt?
P2SR.
Okay, hat sich
Discord.gg/P2SR.
Okay, es ist doch,
Those
glaube ich,
folks
das, was
are
ich
not
denke.
necessarily associated with the TASBot
Weil ich
community,
denke,
but they had a
wenn
fantastic
er
task
ausgerechnet
earlier, and I wanted to make sure I
Filmmedaillon
gave them a
nimmt,
shout out as
habe ich
well.
mir gedacht, kann
So
man
again,
damit
if you're interested
das
in tool-assisted speedrun content,
Also in,
on
ich
real
mein,
consoles, head on over to
Scroll-
discord.gg/TASBot.
Ding wieder auftauen lassen. Das wäre wild.
So we're just going to head in here to Zora's domain. Before we get in there, I'll mention, so in Ocarina of Time, normally when you complete one of the Adult Link dungeons, you dispel Ganon's curse on the area. So for example, in Kokiri Forest, it was originally covered in monsters, and then when you beat the Forest Temple, well, the monsters go away. And so for the Water Temple, the water in the lake was lowered, but when you beat the Water Temple, the water is raised, but the
Okay.
ice in Zora's domain never melts, even though this was Ganondorf's curse. But now that we have the
Oh,
fire
will das
medallion
bringen?
on sea, we can use the powered up fire
Ja, es kommt safe.
and melt the ice in Zora's domain.
Jo. Aber es
This is
bringt ja
very important
eigentlich gar
because
nichts.
as child,
Weil damit kann man ja
we
nichts
can't
machen.
dive deep enough
Da ist
to
ja
get
nichts.
where we're going, and then as adult, you cannot use the iron boots because there's a layer
Okay.
of ice. Not
Wo
going for
geht
that
jetzt unter
exit,
die
we're
Welt?
actually going for this one down here. This is an alcove you can see, but now
Jo,
it's
warum ist,
actually an
denn,
exit,
warum ist da so ein
and
Gang?
it will lead us to
Als ob es da sogar reingeht.
the Unicorn Fountain.
Warte mal, ist das...
So this
Die
is a beta
Beta,
area
okay.
that was shown in pre-release videos and screenshots. It's basically a similar design to to the fairy fountains from Majora's Mask, but it has this extra unicorn
Jo, 3 Leute
statue
im
here in the
Stream.
middle. And there's also the pedestal of the ocarina here. This is a real beta item actually left on the cartridge that we just had to spawn in here. And it is used as an ocarina prompt, of course. So this is another beta item. This is a 3D
Achso, ich
model
habe
actually left on the
irgendwas
cartridge. This is the
vergessen.
Beta Great Fairy. This is the original design for the Great Fairy. We just had to, it's actually in the same
Ich habe
object
vergessen,
file as
das
the
muss immer
normal
ganz
Great
nach
Fairy.
oben. Ja, es ist aber tatsächlich die Beta-Fee.
release, screenshots and videos of the Beta Great Fairy here in the Unicorn Fountain. She's going to teach us a song that represents wisdom.
Moin, Maki Erik. Jo.
So this song, The Overture of Sages, was actually shown in an early rumor about Ocarina of Time from 1999. It wasn't really clear if this rumor was true or not because, you know, there were some issues with the screenshots. They looked a little bit photoshopped. But, you know, here we are learning The Overture of Sages from the Beta Great Fairy in the Unicorn Fountain.
Ein neuer Song. 2 Songs. Ja gut, die können im Item nicht mehr angezeigt werden. Wenn man die vergisst, kann man die nicht mehr spielen.
And she tells us here to play the song Before the Blade of Destiny. It means the Master Sword, of course. You'll hear that she still has the final version of the sound effects, the laughter, so oh well. And so we're going to do exactly what she told us, which is go and play this song in front of the Master Sword. We have a warp there.
Warte mal, kommt man jetzt dahin?
And so, you know, it's very important. We're Adult Link, but we became Adult Link without ever pulling the Master Sword. And that means that we never opened the Door of Time, we never pulled the Master Sword, Ganondorf never got into the Sacred Realm, and the world isn't destroyed. This is how it looks like normally as Child Link, but we're Adult Link here in this scene. So,
Ist jetzt als erwachsener
we
Link
gave
in,
ourselves the 3
als-
spiritual stones in the inventory editor at the beginning.
also als
so we have
erwachsener
them.
Link,
So we're just going to go
bevor
and,
der,
you know, open the door
bevor
of time
Ganon alles
sort of like
zerstört hat.
normal, but
Das wäre
now as
geil.
Adult Link.
Wir probieren das gleich alles nochmal in OT aus.
And the full Song of Time
Let's
has
spiel den
replaced the normal Song of Time in our inventory. That's
vollen
why
Song
we
of
have to
Time.
play it here. Normally we just play the normal Song of Time.
Ich frag mich warum.
So this is a normal cutscene, except normally only Child Link can be in this cutscene. And in fact, if you can see the spiritual stones clip into Link's
Hey,
head
jetzt
there,
können wir
this is
noch mit dem
all it
kurzen
should
Song of
be.
Time machen, da muss man ja
And
jetzt den
in
lang
fact, if you
spielen.
use speedrunning strategy, skip the Door of Time, and get into this cutscene as Adult Link normally, the cutscene will play out, but the Door of Time does not open. We looked at the code. It looks like it's probably just an oversight on their part, but it would be nice to think that it was an anti-cheat measure where, if you speedrun your way here, you can get your cutscene, but you can't get your door. This is another cutscene
Master
that
Schwert
normally
steckt
only
als
Child Link can be in.
Link immer noch darin.
And again, we have the big Goron sword on our back and in our inventory. We've never had the Master Sword in our inventory. Master Sword is still here in front of us. We're not going to be pulling the Master Sword. We're going to be playing the Overture of Sages in front of the Master Sword, as the Beta Great Fairy told us.
Okay. Kommen wir jetzt dahin, wo man die ganzen Medaillons bekommt. Das wäre natürlich sehr geil.
It says, warp to the Sacred Realm.
Das ist schon wieder so ein geiler Run, ne?
So here we are in the Chamber of Sages.
Als ob. Er ist wirklich da. Ah ja, gut. Okay, der ist einfach nur das Medaillon, oder?
So, we got the full Song of Time, which represented courage. We got the Sage's Charm, which represented power. And we got the Overture of Sages, which represents wisdom. So our heart is now in balance between the three virtues. And so you notice these side platforms here in the Chamber of Sages. These are actually in the scene normally. You'll see them in the cutscenes, but normally we don't get control in this scene. And normally we certainly don't get bridges that will lead us to the side platforms.
Gibt eine weitere Plattform.
So the sages are each giving us their blessing and creating these bridges that allow us to climb higher in the sacred realm.
Das war geil. Aber da werden doch jetzt nicht alle Weisen angezeigt.
Yes, that's what they call love at first sight. So Naburo said that she'd see us again in a few years, so here we are.
Achso, die Plattformen werden erst komplett erschaffen. Jetzt kommt Inter.
So the Sage's Charm did indeed belong to Impa. She dropped it when she was fleeing the castle. So those are the 6 sages. There's one more platform up here.
Hä? Zelda? Fragezeichen oder Sheik? Ja, Zelda.
Sounds like Sheik maybe has some idea of what we're up to here.
Was ist das denn für ein geiler Run? Okay, ich würde fragen, are you a boy or a girl? Oh, bitte, bitte so, ja. Bitte
I
frag.
think we all want to know the answer to that question.
Oha, Zelda ist ein Junge, das ist confirmed. Und die Treppe. Oh, also bitte sagt Triforce.
Before we go through this story, I just want to remind all of you, for everyone who's just joining us, that this is an original,
Das muss doch das
unmodified
Triforce
copy
sein.
of Ocarina of Time.
Der Boden sieht
This is
schon,
a real original
glaube ich, so
N64.
aus. Ich weiß nicht
We
mehr, ob
haven't
es
modified
derselbe
anything about the
Boden
game in
war.
advance. All we've done
Aber das
is
soll doch
press
nicht
buttons
nur dafür
on
sein.
controllers
Ich meine, man
very
sieht nicht
quickly,
mal mehr
very
hier
precisely with the help of Taskbot. So
die
this
Anfangsplattform,
really
wo man
is
gestartet
vanilla Ocarina
hat.
of Time, just with a lot of glitches and a lot of very careful building on those glitches to create everything you're seeing here. Folks, enjoy.
Jo, was ist das? Was macht... Hä? Einfach das Triforce in Ocarina of Time. Oh, ich muss mir gleich versuchen.
So as you may have guessed by now, this run actually is not called Ocarina of Time Beta Showcase. The true name of this run is Triforce Percent, because this is how to actually get the Triforce in Ocarina of Time. But
So, allerdings werden wir jetzt noch nicht sehen,
we have a bit more to show you today.
was passiert mit dem Triforce, da ich noch mal kurz auf Klo gehe. So, bis gleich. Moin. Nach einer Stunde sehen wir jetzt, was mit dem Triforce los ist.
Please take a look at this.
Link. Was ist mit Link? Ist einfach BOTW oder warum wird so auf Link gesagt? Hätte hier jetzt alle drei Triforce, hier. Teile. King of Hyrule Rupees. See the future. Ich würde halt alles gerne wissen.
Is a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, rupees, I gotta tell you, folks, I think you should be giving your rupees to Doctors Without Borders instead.
Bei Rupees könnte man halt irgendwas sehen, wie Link halt so auf dem Thron sitzt oder so. Bei King of Hyrule, keine Ahnung, ist halt King von Hyrule. Und bei See the Future, da kann alles passieren. Er kann irgendwie Wind Waker, Twilight Princess geleakt werden. Oder Majora's Mask. Mal sehen, was geleakt wird oder was gezeigt wird. Das wird sehr geil. Yo! BOTW-Link? Na, aber das kann nicht echt sein. Das kann einfach nicht echt sein. Da sind sogar Prinzessinnen Indianer. Als ob das auf einer N64 läuft. Nee.
By the way, this is in engine.
This is not a video. This is the N64.
Das kann doch nicht wahr sein. Als ob... Da... Nee, ne? BOTW Zelda. Yo! Sogar Voices.
I'm so happy to see this. I know they're out there, but it would be nice if we could see them, don't you think?
All right, everyone, type here together in the chat.
Now is a fantastic time to subscribe. Don't forget, you can gift sub people. If you are subscribed, type here together in the chat or just try a few emotes that are really popular.
Was passiert da? Hä, wie ist das möglich? Hä? Wie ist das möglich, was da gerade im Hintergrund passiert? Was steht da? Hier konnte ich lesen. Ja. Lena. Wir werden gleich alles ausprobieren. Alles kann ich mir nicht vorstellen, dass das funktioniert. Da wird irgendwas mitgemacht worden mit der Cartridge. Das kann doch nicht echt sein.
You asked to see our future. Here it is.
Boah, was ist das denn für ein geiles... Ende von Run. Ich habe noch nie so ein geiles Ende von Run gesehen. Yo. Ich frage mich gerade, wie ist das möglich?
Thank you, Link, for all you have done for us.
ゼルダ姫、ありがとう。一緒に未来を作りましょう。
Yo, Link hat zum ersten Mal in seinem Leben geredet. Hilfe. Aber der hat nicht auf Englisch, sondern auf Japanisch geredet. Okay, das probieren wir jetzt aus. Ich muss es kurz starten. Ich muss noch den Controller einstecken. Den habe ich irgendwie ausgestellt, weil der die ganze Zeit nachher Sounds macht, die niemand hören will. Allerdings will ich das jetzt ausprobieren. Achso, ich hatte sie komplett ausgesteckt. Das kann ja nicht klappen. Der Controller ist eingesteckt. Ich muss nur kurz einstellen, dass der Controller funktioniert. Okay. Mist, ich habe Randomizer an. Den schalte ich kurz aus. Sonst wird gleich stark. Ich nenne den Account einfach A. Und jetzt schalte ich mal um. Das nicht, ich meinte das hier. Hä? Es geht irgendwie nur das hier. Ich kann das auch nicht umschalten. Ich habe eine Methode. Zwar glaube ich die Bildschirmaufnahme einfach hier hoch und dann klappt das. Jedenfalls ich möchte nicht, dass man das hier sieht. Das so und dann sieht man das nicht. So, ich stelle kurz auf die FPS-Höhe. Passt alles. Und jetzt stelle ich nur kurz ein. Kann es nirgendwo einstellen. Da. Und jetzt testen wir das alles aus. Also, das erste, was wir machen müssen, ist kurz das hier. Fertig. Ach so, und wir haben hier gar nichts. Also wir haben nicht mal das Kopierschwert. Wir haben keine Bomben. Wir haben Sachen. Ach so, warte mal. Ich stelle kurz ein, dass wir mehr Leben und so haben. Das Magie-Level. Bisschen weird, als wenn sie zum Außenlink das sagt. Okay, ich habe irgendwie eine andere Ocarina. Ich habe die Cutscene irgendwie anders in Erinnerung. Ich weiß aber nicht wieso. Okay, wir testen das jetzt alles aus. Ich weiß zwar nicht warum, aber ich habe die Cutscene irgendwie anders in Erinnerung gehabt. Wir haben übrigens wieder 2 Zuschauer und nicht nur einen. Der eine war ich eigentlich selbst. Leider kann ich halt nicht sehen, wer der Zuschauer ist. Aber ich werde nur kurz mich schneller fortbewegen. Leider ist die schnellste. Keine Ahnung, was die schnellste Fortbewegungsmethode ist. Ja, ich weiß. Okay. Also ich bin mir nicht sicher, ob das normal ist. Hä? Wie viele Leben sind das bitte? Nein, ich will tags haben. Das ist eigentlich tags. Also als erstes testen wir das mit dem Dos aus. Warte mal, ich kann hier auch übrigens Sachen spawnen. Will ich nur kurz gezeigt haben. Da kann man zum Beispiel machen, dass hier eine Tür steht. Aber die will ich nicht betreten, sonst crasht das Game wieder. Das ist einfach nur geil. Mal mit dem PC-Port alles machen kann. Und wir testen das jetzt erstmal aus. Ich hätte doch eigentlich gesagt, dass es tags ist. Achso, die Brücke ist kaputt. Allerdings kann ich ja einfach fliegen. Ich muss jetzt nur gucken. Hier kann man einfach einstellen. unsere Leben sind natürlich auch noch die geilsten. Also ich finde, es gibt keine geileren Leben in Ocarina of Time als hier. So, der Running Man. Ja. Ach so. Ja, ich muss das kurz machen, dass ich das geschafft habe. Aber es geht natürlich einfach. Und zwar geht das hier. Ich glaube, das war das hier. Muss ich halt nur kurz umstellen. Auch wenn das nicht gerade interessant ist. Weswegen ich wahrscheinlich gleich noch einen Stream, also noch einen Zuschauer haben werde. Klappt das jetzt wieder? Warte mal, das hier geht ein bisschen schneller und ich glaube, das ist richtiger. Wie gesagt, ich habe noch einen Zuschauer. Es war ja klar, da das super und interessant ist. Das würde sich niemand freiwillig angucken. Aber mal sehen, was ich dabei rausfinde. So, wir gucken mal, ob ich den Trigger schon habe. Ich habe den Trigger immer noch nicht erreicht. Ah, jetzt sollte ich es eigentlich haben. Ich weiß nicht, warum das nicht geht. Wartet mal. Kann ich einfach hier in meinem Equipment hier einfach das machen? Keine Ahnung. Ich kann auch gerne jeden Song erlernen. Warte. Zum Glück habe ich die Ocarina of Time eigentlich nicht. Warte mal. Ich weiß nicht mehr, wie der Song geht. Deshalb ich einfach mal kurz nachgucke. Das ist übrigens sehr geil, die Show, die ich da oben links habe. Also das ist der hier. Warte mal. Ich guck kurz. Mal wie der geht. Also der geht. Okay, habe ich richtig gehabt. Ich habe irgendwie wieder 2 Zuschauer. Beziehungsweise ein, weil der andere bin ich selbst, weil ich von Zweit-Account bin. So, wir testen jetzt weiter aus. Mal sehen, ob das klappt. Ich meine, ich will nur wissen, ob das klappt oder einfach nur durch Glitches aktiviert wurde vielleicht und das normalerweise auch gar nicht geht. Weil dazu haben wir den No-Clip. Der ist eigentlich hier, dann kann man durch Sachen durchgehen. Dann können wir gucken, ob etwas ist, was ich suche. Ne, das war hier. Boah, der macht sogar Platz. Wahrscheinlich liegt aber daran, dass ich gerade was versucht habe. Jetzt brauchen wir, um in die Höhle zu kommen, kurz. Okay, es klappt nicht. Aber ich kann es ja auch so machen. War klar, dass ich öfter sterbe. Wahrscheinlich. Und hier sind wir im Zuge von Darth. Was den Stream wahrscheinlich auch beenden wird, glaube ich, wenn das nicht klappt. Ja. Bin out of map. Ja, da ist wirklich was. Da ist. Man kann hier drunter schwimmen. Das meinen die doch nicht ernst. Das heißt, ich muss jetzt wegschwimmen. So, dass ich unter der Map bin und dann an den Ort komme. Warte mal, ich habe eine Idee. Kann ich mir nicht einfach die Schuhe cheaten? Ich habe die. Ich kann das einfach dahin. Hier ist nichts. Das ist ein... Ich wollte mich doch verarschen. Als ob da nichts ist. Weil da drunter geht es jetzt tatsächlich lang. Dann wünsche ich noch einen schönen Tag noch. Denn das war's jetzt auch mit dem